I feel. You stop me.
Hello.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ghosty on Intellectual Radio, the show where we talk about whatever we want because it's our show, not yours.
Period.
Welcome to another Tuesday with Slay Master Bree and I. Thank you so much for sticking with us, even though we took last week off. Sometimes life just gets you. Sometimes we have to do other things, but we appreciate y'all looking for us. That makes us feel real good.
Special.
All right, Bree. So, what was your week like? Talk to us about what you did last week. What's going on? What's new with you?
Well, I had a pretty long week, actually. I had back-to-back fashion shows, actually. If anyone attended any or should have attended, if you missed it, shame on you. But
You had some fashion shows?
yeah, I did.
Wow. Where were
First-
those shows at?
Yeah, first I had Fever. These are all produced by Blake Martin. You guys know who that is? I don't know. You might not know. But first we had Fever, which was a lingerie extraordinaire show. Might I say myself? That
Got a little spicy.
a bit spicy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Studio 54. If you missed that, I'm so sorry. Like, man, we did the most.
Did you enjoy the show?
I did. I not only did I enjoy walking the show, but I actually enjoyed sneaking to watch the show because I'm just a model that has enough time to get dressed and do both. But I was trying to sneak and do both.
When did you sneak and watch?
I watched
the show.
I watched.
Oh.
I mean, I didn't, guys. I didn't. At all.
Okay. Well, it's very important to me that y'all enjoy y'all experience and walking in my show. What was your
a lot of fun
favorite part? Other than that hat.
Right. I would say my favorite part that I didn't see in the show because I didn't watch it. I loved when Dej came out with Nivea in the basket. Like, oh my goodness, that's the only side I could see. I couldn't see the other side because they were the closest. But my baby Nivea slayed all the way down. Shout out Nivea. Goodness. But my favorite part of the whole show, I think, was the support actually from everyone. Like, it was such a supportive show. Like, no matter what you were doing, like, there was somebody screaming yes, and the backstage was completely organized. There was always somebody to help you if you needed to figure out what you're wearing next or where you're going, even if we're supposed to know and you don't know. Like, everything was just nice and positive and supportive, and that in turn created a good show and everyone did great. Like,
that makes me feel good. That's because I was the man in the front.
Who returned the shopping carts? Cameron wants to know.
Those shopping carts were left right there.
Fire, he says.
Those shopping carts were left right at the venue for them to deal with. But I appreciate that. That's the one part that I did not know because I was in front running the show and yelling and screaming. But I'm glad to hear that backstage was a great. That's great. All right. So today we are talking about modeling, fashion, and getting paid for what you do. And this topic was sparked because a good friend of mine sent me a status of a Chicago model that said, why don't we start getting paid for our craft? Stop doing free shows. And I don't know. I want to say it made me feel a way, but yeah, it did. So let me ask you, as a model, do you agree with that statement or not? To stop doing free shows, get paid for your craft.
So I would say that I agree and I disagree. And I would I think I would say I disagree and I agree.
Okay.
How about the other way around?
Okay.
And I say that only because aspiring models, like there are different kind of models, aspiring, experienced. Like, you don't just start. I say tomorrow I want to be a model, and I walk in New York Fashion Week on Thursday. Like, it just doesn't happen that way. So there has to be some type of starting point, starting ground, and that starting ground, unfortunately, is very free and very hard. Hard work.
Right.
So I mean, that's in anything. If you want to be any kind of artist, if you want to be a music artist, if you want to be an actor, actress, or however it goes, it always takes that groundwork where it's going to be free and noodles for the month, and all of that to get to where you want to be later in life.
Well, here's my thought on it, and I completely agree with you. But I think that every single model that does a fashion show gets paid one way or another.
True. I agree.
So to your point, I agree. So a lot of people will say that I'm at the point of my career where I produce a show, I direct a photo shoot, and I get paid, and I get paid nice.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I won't lie about that. I do make a nice living. However, there was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 11 years where I was producing people's shows for free, producing it for $25, producing it literally to get taken out to dinner. And I had to grind and grind and grind to get to the point where I could then demand what I thought I was worth in terms of payment. So often models in Chicago will say, hey, I want to be a model, do 1 or 2 shows, and then be like, where's my money? Mm-hmm. And that's just not how it works. But I do feel like at some point or another, every model gets paid. So what I mean by that is if you're a newer model and you come to a Blake Martin production, right? And you're in rehearsals and I'm doing extensive runway training and rehearsals and I'm teaching you posing and walk cadence and how to take a good picture and all of that. Training costs a lot of money. Training is expensive.
Yeah,
so therefore, if you are in my show and throughout rehearsals, I've trained you for free, that's how you got paid. If you get images and video from shows, that's how you got paid. If designers tell you keep whatever you modeled, you've gotten some form of compensation. It's not always going to be in currency.
True. And I also believe that every model can't go in expecting pay, whether you want to believe it, whether you want to realize it or not. It's about your experience. It's about what you can do. You can't just say, I'm a model, I've done 3 shows, this is my 4th show and you need to pay me. Just because you've done 3 shows does not mean that you're a good model or that you should be getting what requires you to get paid.
I think what people miss is that, are you a master of your craft? That's what warrants payment, because so often I will see a model that says, I need to get paid for my craft. But then after a show, I'm looking through the images. I'm like, I have no images to use of you because you didn't know how to pose on the runway. You were doing way too much extra shit. And you want me to pay for that?
Yeah.
If I pay you, you are guaranteeing me good product. You're guaranteeing me great pictures, great video. You're going to sell that garment. And if you can't, without any hesitation, say, I guarantee it, how are you getting
That's like
paid?
Any other job.
Right. You can't say, I have no idea how to fix computers, but I want to work in IT, but pay me a whole bunch of money. No, what you're doing is you're going to be an intern to try to learn the craft. It's not always about financial gain.
Somebody's saying that's why they only go after models without representation. But I also feel like the models who don't have representation yet are still beginning to model. They're still, you know what I'm saying? So that's like one and the same for me, my opinion.
They said they only go after models
without
representation.
And I'm not just saying that because, I've been doing this for so long, I have this, I'm doing it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that's like the groundwork. And the same thing I just said before with acting, with radio, with whatever you're doing, with music, whatever you're doing. You have to have that groundwork until you get signed. Then you're still no one. You still not getting any paid work unless you're independently funding everything and then getting the profit from the show yourself.
Well, because here's the thing: people pay for return on investment. It's all about return on investment, right? So
it's those ticket sales, ladies and gentlemen.
It is. If I go out tomorrow and I pay, I don't know, Naomi Campbell $30,000 to walk my runway show, I then know that I could charge $200 a ticket because people are going to want to come see Naomi Campbell in a show.
Right.
If I say I'm going to book, Keisha Marks, they're going to be like, who's that?
Okay.
You're not making me no money.
Right.
In fact, I have to pay for rehearsals to train you, to get you ready to walk in the show, to boost your confidence, to teach you how to pose, to teach you all these things. So you then want me on top of that to pay you. You're not giving me a return on my investment. That's why CoverGirl will pay Beyonce $1 million to be in their ad because they know she's going to sell $5 million worth of product. that unknown model is going to get $200 because they're like, well, I mean,
she's cute.
Who are you?
she's
There's
pretty.
no return on the investment. So
Yeah.
I think people really forget about that. So as a model, Bree, when you are deciding to do a show that is not compensated, what factors do you ask yourself to say, is it or isn't it worth my time?
Well, actually, my bottom line, seriously, like I don't care about like, oh, I'm gonna get pictures from the show, I'm gonna get videos. Like that's good for Instagram, that's good for social media and all that stuff. But in all actuality, for my modeling career with my footwork, I can't bring someone a video and like, look at this, I just slayed, right? They'd be like, girl, put that video up. I don't really need it, The bottom line for me is the networking and the work I'm gonna get after the fact. Like it when I do shows that are free, period, I get more work outside of that, and then my brand becomes bigger, my name becomes bigger, I get to do more, and then the money starts to come. Like you got to put the work in, you have to. There's no way around it.
I completely agree.
Witness.
I completely agree. That's not even, in terms of models. I won't say the brand's name, but I recently did a campaign for a very, very big brand. I styled it, I directed, I produced it, and I didn't get not $1 from the work. I didn't get free clothes. I got basically a thank you for your time. And so a lot of people would say, why would you do that for free? But then another individual saw what I did for that client, emailed me and said, whatever you cost, I'm paying it because of what I saw you do for them.
The work, so the proof is in the pudding,
why
guys.
I do things for free still, because I'm like, I never know what this will lead me to, right? So sometimes you have to do free stuff. Sometimes you even have to pay to do stuff for the opportunities. Yeah. So we're going to get into a few of these questions, guys. If you have fashion questions about modeling, being a fashion designer, photographer, anything, leave them below. Me and Bree are going to go back and forth between our lives, answering the questions you guys have. So on my live, Alina Superju asks, what's a good way to get blacklisted by photographers or producers?
That was a good question.
Phenomenal question. So a great way to be blacklisted is very simple: to not do what is asked of you. That's just it. It's like being at a job, clocking into work, then not doing the job. You're fired. Yeah. And then once you're fired from the company, you can never apply to work there again. I used to work for Chase Bank and I got fired from Chase. I can't go back and apply again because they're going to pull my name and say, you worked here before. Yeah. And you got fired. And I remember. You're not going to come back here. Yeah. So a great way to get blacklisted is simply just to not do what is asked of you. Hope that answers your question. What you got over there, Bree?
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question from Cameron.Hollins. Hey, shout out Cameron. What's the most professional way to get into the talk about getting paid for your feast? I'll just say for your talent, for your job. I don't know.
What's the best way to start the conversation?
Yeah, basically.
I'll let you answer that and I'll give my opinion.
Okay. First of all, I want to say that we need to go back to experience. I mean, if you come to a job and you don't have any paperwork in your hand, you don't have your resume, you don't have a comp card, you don't have a portfolio, you haven't even started to make a portfolio, like at least show the effort that you're a aspiring model, that you don't have any representation, but you're working towards something. If you come into a shoot and you just have yourself and you're like, check my Instagram followers, or you have no resume, no background to you, and you expect to get paid, like shame on you, first of all.
I'm 1,000% in agreement. Because to answer your question, Cameron, you can't start the conversation about getting paid. Your experience and how you present yourself starts the conversation for you. Mm-hmm. You should never have to say, well, how much am I getting paid? How you present yourself, how you present your experience. They're going to come to
you like that.
They're going to tell you what the rate is.
When they come and they want you to represent their brand, they're going to say, I have a treatment, which is, this is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to be doing. Your shoot is going to look like this. I'll pay you this amount of money before you leave. You know what's going on. You know what's happening. Period. That's the end of the discussion. And you won't even have to have that sit down because it's already been said before you even go. Yep.
So you should never start the conversation about what you're getting paid because your experience.
Because if you have to start the conversation, I'm so sorry to say, but it's free.
That's it. If they don't discuss rates, There is no
If
rate.
you haven't already discussed it before you came to location. Woo, I know English. Before you got to the location, like it's probably free or TFP. Just
you have to
saying.
just know that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What do we have here? Trying to see. I recently saw someone have a kind of a bad attitude with the makeup artist. What's the best way to interact with makeup artists, hairstylists for a show/shoot? Great question.
Oh no, look, I just got taken back a bit.
So, I'm gonna answer this from. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. Typically, what I see in the local market is people have bad experiences with makeup artists or hairstylists because they have an idea of what beauty looks like for them, right? So if I'm a makeup artist and the producer or the designer of the show tells me I want really heavy black eyeliner and black shadow on the models, I want really messy, hair for my look, that's what I want based off what I'm showcasing, right? That model then gets their hair and makeup done, looks at me and like, oh no, I don't like black eyeshadow on me. Who cares what you like? It's not you're gonna be wearing it for 2-3 hours tops and it washes off. Who cares what you do and do not like? Now, if the makeup is done poorly, that's a separate conversation. But even then, as the model, that's not for you to have the conversation, right? So as a model, when you get in the makeup chair or the hair chair, you are sitting down, understanding you are releasing yourself to everyone else's creative juices, and you have no opinion.
That's
in
the
it
quickest way to get fired.
whatsoever.
Oh, the quickest
So the
way.
best way to interact with the makeup artist or hairstylist is to shut up. Now, if this is your photo shoot and you've paid a makeup artist or a hairstylist to do your stuff, then you can tell them whatever you want. I don't like this. Let's change this. You can say whatever you want. But if you're the talent, sit in the chair, shut up. Bree, what do you say about that?
Yeah, I think that's the quickest way to get fired. I feel like actually I don't think that. I've seen it. Unfortunately, I've seen it happen many of times, but like it's a look. Sometimes I'm not a fan of certain hairstyles and I got a big forehead and we all have different things that we don't like about ourselves that we don't like to accentuate. And sometimes we need to do that for the look that we're, trying to show, but that's not up to us. We are not the designer. We are just the person who's presenting the look of someone else, basically. So,
I mean, and that goes back to kind of the other question of separating yourself from an amateur to a professional. Because if you go to New York Fashion Week and you're a male model, and Diane von Furstenberg says for all my male models they're gonna have eyeshadow, eyeliner, and finger waves. As a male model, you can't say I'm not wearing that. You're wearing whatever we tell you to. As a female model, if they say you're going out there with no makeup on and frizzy hair, if that's the look, then unfortunately, that's the look. You may not think it's flattering, but if that's what they want.
As many fashion shows as I watch, I really don't think that these guys really agree to what they're wearing
at
half
all.
The time. Like, I don't think they're like, yeah, give me that. I love it.
That's it. And I mean, I've been in fashion shows where the designer will say, this is the look. And I'm like, oh, good God. Well, but I'm paid to make sure that look gets achieved.
Yeah.
So I have to go in there like, this is what's going to be done. And in my head, I'm like, this shit looks tragic. But that's what the designer.
That's the design. That's what she. Yeah.
Yeah. What question you got over there, Brie?
Okay, so now I have. Is it better? Wait, this is from. First, before I start this question, I have a comment just for you. It says that.
A comment for me?
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's from Tia.Anderson.96. Who said it took 4 years of auditioning and submitting to Blake shows, and I finally made it. So I just wanted to.
Hello, Tia.
Shout out to you, girl.
Yeah, good job.
Come on, consistency. But no, the real question is from JK All Day 863. Is it better for a model to go through an agency or freelance?
There are pros and cons to both.
I was going to say I have my both sides to that one.
So agency, freelance. Oh, if you are with an agency, the way I position it to models is having an agent is like having a very, very strict parent. Being freelance is like being a teenager with no parent. You do what you want, right?
I get that.
So being with an agent is someone telling you what you can and cannot do, when you can and cannot do it, whether they, like it or not, it's their decision. So, for example, if I am Bree's agent and she is signed to a high fashion agency, and tomorrow Adidas comes and says, we'll pay Bree $50,000 for our Adidas campaign. As her agent, I'm going to say, we really don't do sportswear. We're going to have to turn it down. And Bree's going to be pissed. You just cost me 50 grand. But guess what? As your agent,
that's your brand, baby.
That's this. You do what we tell you to do.
Yep.
Now, in that same vein, being with an agent, you're going to be able to have access to brands, casting calls, fashion shows you never would have without your agent. So that's the pro.
Yeah.
The con to being freelance is the bigger brands, the bigger fashion houses don't work with freelance people. They just don't. You're never going to work for Burberry,
they don't want you to mess
Givenchy, Yeezy without an agent. But you also have the ability to kind of do whatever the hell you want to do as freelance. Yeah. What do you say, Brie?
I was gonna say almost the same, but I guess it is the same. But with agencies, there are shows that you would never really see the light of day of if you're a freelance. That's just period.
Right.
You just wouldn't. And then I don't think that you should go into being signed like, okay, now I'm about to get rich and I'm about to get paid a super amount of money. Like, you'll get to the shows that you may not have reached and you'll get paid, but you're not gonna get like, oh, now I'm signed. Now it's time for me to make Naomi money.
Right.
Like, no, there's, you still have to do more groundwork and things like that. But there's shows that you're not gonna see if you're freelance. But the bonus to freelance, which is what I loved, is the money that you do make, you share with no one.
Right. If you are an agency signed model, you are splitting that money with several individuals. And understand that as an agency model, you are paid last.
Yep.
So if you work for Calvin Klein for the day and it was a $10,000 job, your agency is going to take their $5,000. Then your agent is going to take their $3,000. And then hair, makeup, transportation, all of that's going to take their $1,000. And then 4 months later, they're going to send you your $500.
Actually, after you've already forgotten about it and everything else.
Yes. A lot of times models are paid.
Don't forget about taxes because
correct.
You still
and taxes. Yeah. A lot of times models are paid and they have to call their agent and say, what job was this for? Because
it just happened to my mom.
I've seen models get paid a year after a job is done and complete because the money had to go through so many different hands.
Yep. And the client pays your agency. So don't think that you're going to go to the job and before you leave, you're like, oh, give me my check. I'll give it to my.
No. No. So what happens is you go to set, you do the job, you leave, your agency communicates with the client. The client is then going to tell the agency, the model did a great job. You can go ahead and invoice us. Mm-hmm. Now, understand with big companies, let's say you are signed with Ford and you are signed with Nike. I mean, your shoe was for Nike. That conversation of did a model do a good job? That simple conversation could take weeks for them to even have the conversation of whether you did a good job or not. Then you have to get invoiced. Invoicing has to go through payroll. Payroll has to cut the check. The check has to then be mailed, then cashed, then the second round of payroll paying the agency, then paying the agent. Then they're like, what's this random $500? Oh, yeah, we didn't pay Brie.
Yeah.
Send that to Brie.
Oh, that's Bree's, actually. Yeah. That's not even ours. Okay,
4, 5, 6 months after the job.
When you've forgotten about it. Like,
so
seriously,
a lot of models aren't making their money, their bread and butter from modeling. I've seen models on the cover of Vogue magazine and still be waitresses.
I've met them. Like, I've met them. So I can attest to that. Seriously. Okay, I have another question.
Go.
Is it possible to work with an agent from a well-known agency without being signed to that agency?
It is not, in my experience.
I don't feel like it is. The only way that I think that it could slightly, and I mean slightly, be possible is if that said agent saw some type of potential in you and saw some type of money that he could make from you and was like, okay, we need to look at this guy. But other than that, I don't really see that happening.
Now, I want everybody to also understand the very big difference between an agent and a manager.
Oh, yeah.
Those are two very, very different things. An agent's job is simply to get you work. An agent's job is just to say, Givenchy, Nike, Puma, Walgreens is looking for a model. I need to get you this job.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all. Come prepared and ready to go work.
Here's the address. Go.
Right. Your agent makes money when you make money, right? So unless you're making money, your agent does not. So that's their primary goal. When you have a manager, your manager's job is to ensure that you are prepared to work. You have portfolio, you have comp cards, you have digital prints.
Babysitter.
Your hair and makeup is always done. You're in the gym. It's their job to make sure you're prepared. But in contrast, because a manager doesn't get paid when you do work, you are paying your manager whether you work or not. So if I am Bree's manager, she's paying me $500 a month, whether she works or not, because I'm still preparing her for when the job comes. Your agent don't get no money unless you work. So understand difference between agent and manager. They work together, but separately, if that makes sense.
The manager is the guy who breaking it down to like, I don't want to say model language, but like the manager is the one who's going to tell you, okay, now, did you make sure that you send this email? Did you make sure that do you have your comp card? Okay, are you ready? Are you going to bring your, and you still have to pay them both.
Are you in the gym?
Yeah. Babysitting you, basically.
Babysitting, right. Makes sense. Hope that. All right, so let's see. Hey, Phil. Hey, Clarence. We have some new people joining us. Hey. Let's see if I have any new questions here.
Oh my!
Talk to me. What you got?
Okay, JK all day. Okay, let me think. He said, list some of the best lessons you got from BM. I'm guessing that's you, sir, Blake Martin. Okay.
JK is so extra.
Yeah. Let's see. Some of the lessons that I've learned is the balance. He probably doesn't even know this because we haven't even had like these discussions. But for runway walking, I would say the balance of my body and moving everything as one, but separately at the same time. So if you've ever seen a cheetah walk, I know this sounds crazy. Don't laugh at me. I know this sounds crazy, but like a cheetah, when they walk like with their whole body, but the one motion. You see what I'm saying? Like, and if you stand that up and you posture yourself right, like I've learned different ways to put my balance on heels. Like I've learned a lot of techniques. I could actually go on all night on this. Oh, hey guys, I could actually go on with this all night. But yeah,
I knew
that's
none
some
of
things.
That. I knew none of that. That's great. What other questions? I know Cameron has some other questions.
Yeah, Cameron has a lot.
Francino, if you are a new model, what's the best way to get things going for yourself? Oh, if you are a new model, what's the best way to get started? One, research. The biggest mistake I see new models make is to not know what type of model they want to be.
I was going to say that.
Right? So if I come to you and I say, hey, I want to be a doctor, and you say, what kind of doctor? And I'm like, just a doctor. That makes no sense. Are you a pediatrician? Are you a surgeon? Or, are you an OBGYN? Like every different type of physician requires a different study.
Yeah.
It does. So if you go to school wanting to be an OBGYN, you're going to take completely different courses than a heart surgeon, although they are both doctors.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a model, if you want to be a lingerie model, that's a completely different path than a high fashion model or a fitness model. So many times you guys come into the business just saying, I want a model. What happens is then you do everything. In doing everything, essentially you've done nothing. Then 5 years later, you're like, I don't want to model no more because I got nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't get anywhere because you were doing all the wrong shit.
And you didn't really want to model
to begin with.
Like in my experience with those same type of people, they usually just want clout. They don't really want to model.
They don't want to model.
They don't want to do the groundwork. Yeah, they want to be famous. They don't want to model.
Listen.
They're like,
Listen, I think they see individuals like you and I. We are at New York Fashion Week. We're backstage with celebrities. We're getting VIP treatments. And it's a wonderful life. But at the same time, some of this shit is rough.
No,
you go home and you're sad, you're crying, your feet hurt.
Know the amount of tears.
You don't have any social life. You haven't eaten in 5 days. And all you see is 800 people like your photo on Instagram because they think you're living the life.
Yep.
When in reality, you're like, I
Haven't slept in years.
to break. I'm about to break, right? So I think that clout is very, very big and wanting to be a model. But to answer your question, you have to know what type of model you want to be. That's going to be first. All right. So let's see. Number one night said, what's the best way for a brand to get exposure? I'm guessing you mean a fashion brand. So that's a great question. I think investment into your brand is going to be important. So in order for people to know about your brand, they have to see the brand and they have to care. So one of the best things I can say is invest in your brand, doing photo shoots, doing video shoots, hiring a creative director for your brand, hiring a stylist for your brand, and having them help cultivate what your brand looks like and what it does. So for example, some of my clients that I've done this for is like Omari's Closet Designs, Llewellyn, so on and so forth, who came to me and said, I'm a brand new brand. I want to get my name out there. Help me. And it's my job as a creative director to take that brand from unknown to everyone knows them, right? So Amari's Closet Design is one of my success stories. He came to me 2 years ago, hadn't really done much in the Chicago space, and said, I really want my brand to explode. Really? And we worked really, really hard. And now he's one of the most sought after designers in the city. Yes, but that took a lot of hard work, investment, and knowing the proper things to do for your brand, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. I have a question. If you
go.
So Cameron, you need to come to a class and pay a fee to get all of this knowledge, because you've been asking like seven.
Okay, now listen.
7 questions.
Okay, now
I'm just kidding.
I saw you. I saw you listen. Now I have the Blake Martin Model Masterclass in 2 weeks. Right? I'm not gonna answer all your stuff on air for free. You're gonna have to come and pay that $40 and come get all this sauce.
Invest in your craft.
It costs. What's his question though?
He wants to know that, is it a good idea as a freelance model to look for other gigs and opportunities backstage at another show?
How would that help you at all? That's like saying, I want to be a football player, so is it beneficial for me to go backstage at the basketball game and be the towel boy? That ain't gonna do shit for your career. So
it's okay. Maybe if you like give them a card or something when they're leaving and say, it was great working with you, would love to work with you again, and leave it at that. But other than that, you don't even really have time to be doing that backstage.
I would disagree at all. I would say no on that. Phil Nominal says, excuse me, not sure if this has been asked, but since there is space for plus size female models, but are there space for thick men who have the face but are thicker than the standard? Absolutely. Yes, there are spaces for everyone. I find there's a space for every single type of model in the world. However, what happens is a lot of people just look at Vogue or just look at high fashion runway shows and think that that's all there is. And there's not. There is a market for every single type of model in the world. You just have to research and know your path, right? Yeah. So brands like Fashion Nova, Forever 21, so on and so forth have full plus size sections that have advertisements, website photos, things of that nature that they need models for.
Yeah, you just have to know your avenue.
Space for thick guys.
They have to sell. If they have to sell the clothing, then they need the models. Period.
What mistakes do you think many producers are guilty of?
Ooh,
producers. What sets you apart in that regard?
Dun dun dun.
I don't want to answer.
Juicy. Yeah, my mouth said.
I don't want to answer because I don't put my foot in my mouth. That's funny that you said that, because I talked to myself about this earlier, so I'm gonna get real. I'm gonna get really real with you right now.
Listen up.
What I think most producers make the mistake of is not understanding responsibility. Okay, so as a producer, I understand that I have several responsibilities. Number one, people that pay their money to come see my show, I have a responsibility to them to give them the best experience possible. I understand that if you're a model in my show, you trust me with your career. You trust me to train you. You trust me to give you the tools to succeed. That's a responsibility. Those parents who bring their kids to me, trust me with their children. That's a responsibility. I can't go into any situation taking that lightly. Therefore, I have to pay attention to every detail and go into every situation being clear on my intention of why I'm doing it and my responsibility to everyone else. I think what other producers do, they get caught up in the moment. I want to give a good show. I want my name in lights. I want to make the money. Fuck everything else. I don't care if the models don't like me. I don't care if they have a good experience. I don't care if my backstage is crazy. I just want somebody to say I did a dope show. That's the last responsibility you should want. That's what I think many people make the mistake of, is not realizing their responsibility in the game. I hope that helps.
That.
I was mad about that.
I'm like, and there's that.
Ooh. All right. Let's see. So I'm going to take these two questions back to back. Okay. RP 2084. What if you don't know your lane? How do you not know your lane?
How do you want to model if you don't know?
Right. I think.
What kind of model do you want to be?
I think I kind of get the question. What you have to ask yourself is, what are you good at? I'm going to be real with you. No one cares about what you want to do. No one cares. Stop and ask yourself, what is it that you're good at? So this is a conversation that I have a lot with male models, especially because male models will come to me and say, I want to be a high fashion model. Okay, let's break that down. You're 5'9". You go to the gym every single day. You got muscles coming out of every piece of your body. You're not going to be a high fashion model with that body type. But what you're good at is your body. Self-fitness, underwear, swimwear. That's what you're good at. No one cares that you want to do high fashion. No one cares. What are you good at? It's a whole bunch of stuff that I want to do, but it ain't necessarily what's going to make me money. Right. So therefore, I go into things saying, I'm good at this. This is going to make me money. So that's what you do. So you have to ask yourself that. And then the other one, number one night, asking, should a brand owner be forefront of their brand or let it speak for themselves? At the forefront. I think it depends. I think if you want to be at the forefront of your brand, that's something you have to do forever. If you're going to start off as the face of your brand, you have to take that forever. For example, Diddy, Kamorley Simmons, so on and so forth, they started off as the face of their brand. Yeah. Now, 20 years later, they still have to be the face of that brand. There are other brands you don't even know what those designers look like. And so they can stay away from that and stay creative. So it really just depends on what you want to do. But yeah, that's a decision you have to make. Mastermind photo. Name the 3 best photographers in Chicago.
Oh, you tried that. I was going to say, you just tried it.
I can't name 3 because there are more than 3 that I'm a fan of. But I would say photographers. Hot Mic Studios. Him Over There Studios. Alina Super Shoots. Mastermind Photo. That's a doozy. Polo Gibson does decent work. I've never worked with him before, but I like the work. Give me 2 more. I feel like I'm missing some people.
I like Michael Weil, actually. No one knows who that is, but I know. And I like Gabby from Gab Master.
Okay. So yeah, those are some of our favorite Chicago photographers. What about you got a question over there?
Well, they want to know who you are. First of all, everybody's asking me, what's Dude's IG? And now they're all attacking him like, dude. So, okay, his name is Mr. Blake Martin. Okay, guys. At Mr. Blake Martin, go.
That's Dude. At Mr. Blake Martin.
Thank you, Tia. Tia's going in right now. She's like, excuse me.
that is me. I am at Mr. Blake Martin. Let's see.
Okay, so I have a question of my own, I guess.
Okay.
And, hey, it's my
Hey. Fresno, please give out masterclass info. DM me and I'll give it to you. It's so difficult to put it in here, but DM me, I got you.
Right. Okay, so my question is, there's a lot of people on my live saying They didn't expect to get paid their first time, but after the fact, they felt their name was out there. They felt that's when they should be getting paid. So when is a specific time to ask to be paid? So once again,
again, it's going to be a return on your investment.
Mhm.
No one cares that you're Insta famous. No one gives a damn. They just don't,
Yeah.
right? So the best way I can describe it is right now, Beyonce is the highest paid or one of the highest paid female musicians ever. But there was times even after Destiny's Child's first album and second album, they weren't making no money. They just weren't because people weren't booking them and paying them like that. They were still having to go and do things, you know, on their own. So at some point, you have to say, who cares that you're Insta famous? No one cares about it. What is happening. No one cares if you are Insta famous and your name is out there. Can you give me a return on my investment? Can you make sure that what I paid you, you bring me back 10 times fold? Because Insta famous don't means nothing. No one cares about Instagram or being Insta famous. Because I can't go into meetings saying I got 50,000 followers, so pay me accordingly.
And I feel like we need
No
to
one cares.
actually touch base on that because there's such a significant difference between an Instagram model and an actual runway model or a print model or someone who is like actually making a living off of selling clothing on a runway.
Now, let's be honest. Being an Instagram, there is a market for being an Instagram model. There is. But that also has nothing to do with your follower count.
True.
At all. Let's be very clear. You cannot get paid off your follower count because if that's the case, my bank account got questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine too.
Can a model equally balance another craft? What do you think?
Absolutely. I balance a lot of things, multitask. You just have to have a schedule. You have to know what you're going to do. You just have to make time for whatever you make time for. Absolutely, you can.
I'm going to say, can a model equally balance another craft? Yes, you can equally balance another craft. However, if you give 50% to modeling and 50% to being a chef, also then be okay with only succeeding 50% sometimes in one of those.
True, though.
That's just the reality because if you go so hard at being a model and a chef, you are never going to reach your full potential as a model because half your time is given to being a chef.
True.
We got about 15 minutes left on our show, guys. So if you have other questions, leave them now so that we can make sure that we get to them and we answer them. This has been very productive question and answer day on the Go See. If you have other questions, please leave them below. We're going to take a really quick 2 or 3 minute musical break and get back to you guys. If you have questions again on fashion, modeling, or any of the sort, leave them below. You are listening to the Go See on Intellectual Radio. We will be right back. 2 minutes.
Girl, you gotta wake up, 'cause you know you ain't supposed to be here. Gotta wake up, 'cause if she finds you, I can't explain it. I put you in a bad situation, but in her eyes it won't look that way. So you just gotta go now. I know I just let you down. I've been doing wrong for too damn long that I lost track of time. I didn't know it. I knew what I was doing. I knew what 'cause girl, you blew my mind. I didn't mean to leave you on. So I gotta tell you, please be gone, baby, please. I didn't mean to leave you on, but I gotta tell you, please be gone. So dangerous, 'cause I know that she would go crazy It's so dangerous. If she catches going half on the baby, she won't understand how hard it feels. So just one look from your hand, girl. Now you're standing here naked while my leg keeps shaking. 'Cause I don't want you to go. I've been going wrong for too damn long. That I lost the track of time. I knew what I was doing.
All right. You are back with the Ghosty on Intellectual Radio. This is the show where we talk about whatever we want because, well, it's our show, not yours.
Period.
All right, so we're going to take our last few questions this last 10 to 15 minutes of our show. So I have a question here that says, will you be going on tour soon? Interesting question. But yes, I am actually. I start the Blake Martin tour this Friday, actually. I will be in Atlanta, Georgia, Friday through Tuesday. After Atlanta, I travel to Miami, then DC, and then I come back to Chicago for a few weeks, and then I go to New York and Philly. I have a lot of shows, workshops, everything. So if you are somewhere and you want myself and some of my models to come and do workshops, talk, speak, do the go see there, we can make it happen.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. All right, Bree, you got a question over there?
Okay, so I have a question that I'm not even sure if I want to answer, but I'll just answer it anyway because this is the second time it's come down my feed. So from JK All Day, again, he wants to know, do you have friends in the industry or is it just a dog-eat-dog world? So we're going to both touch, I think, on this and give both of our opinions. I'm going to go first because I feel like the bite is coming after my short little nibble.
Or is it dog-eat-dog? Okay, what's your thoughts?
Well, I feel like I have I have some friends in the industry, I would say, mostly people who we both love the same thing. We both enjoy doing the same things. We don't really see each other every day, but we can get along. We see each other like friends. You know, you have to be really important to someone to actually call them a friend. So I would just say that part. But you know, a lot of people that you care a lot about. You know, but as far as friends go, I would probably say I could count them on one hand, and then 2 more fingers, and that's it. But you know,
I definitely have friends in the industry. I have people that are very, very near and dear to my heart, and I love them dearly. However, when you have friends in the industry, you also have to be very clear on the shaky ground of those friendships.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is when you are in a creative space and you are both creative people and you're in the same industry, this could be your best friend today. And one thing goes wrong and the two of you hate each other tomorrow.
Yep.
That just becomes part of it. So you have to be invested in your friendships, but also be prepared for at any given time, those same friendships will be gone. And I've had people that I'm friends with, and then something will happen and we don't talk to each other for a year or two. And then one day we'll get a random follow-up and we act like nothing was different.
Yeah.
It comes with the business and the territory.
But that's how you know true friends, though, too. Like, if you can't bounce back from things, or if you can't deal with that type of thing and still be afraid after the fact, then, you know,
I agree.
There's so many people who've been lost in the swamp fire because of that.
All right, last question, Bree. And for those of you on my live, I'm going to probably end it and come right back because live is counting me down. I have 30 seconds left before it auto ends, and I'll come right back. Bree, you got any other questions over there?
Okay, so this seems important. There's a lot of exclamation. So
this
hair color. Important. Okay. Does it have to be a certain way or hair color for an agency to be taken as a real professional?
Yes, your natural hair color.
Absolutely. If they can't grow it out of the scalp, then it shouldn't be on your head for an agency. I know that sounds like, how you just gonna say that? I seen Slick Woods and she had this and she had but you're not Slick Woods, so we're just gonna leave it right there.
that you not Wood Slick.
Yeah.
So if you want to be with an agency,
don't.
Yeah. What about the kids? Someone said
lemon
pepper my wings. Said, what about the kids? the Alma. I'm not able to add you to my live, honey bun. This is a radio show, and they won't be able to hear
okay.
you, so I can't add you to my live. But landing in 37 minutes, think you can make it? Yes, yes. All right. Any last questions, guys, before we get out of here? This has been an amazing
Yeah,
question
lots of
and
questions
answer
and
day
answers. Yeah,
on the
good
Go
job,
See. So
hope it was helpful.
just know in the upcoming weeks there will be some changes, not changes, but there will be some times where upcoming weeks I need to give Bree a break, and I will either be doing the Go See by myself or with special guests. And in contrast, there will be a few weeks where I am out of town and Bree will be here alone
Absolutely.
or with a special
Holding
guest.
it down.
That's it. That's all. So make sure you guys still tune in and listen in. I thank my co-host Bree because I randomly messaged her 2 months ago and said I have this crazy idea for a show. Would you come on the ride with me?
And I love
And
it.
she didn't hesitate. So
I
thank
love
you,
it.
Flat Master
No.
Bree. I appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having me and asking me. I mean, it's been a blast ever since. I was nervous the first show, but
Now
after that,
we getting it in.
Yeah.
We're getting it in. So thank you guys. So again, you can listen to us on YouTube, play back this entire broadcast on YouTube. You can listen on iHeartRadio. I have saved the live to my Instagram as well for you to play it back. There are so many different ways to hear us again. Love Goddess Inc. Is it too late to be a part of the Black Women's Expo? It is not. Just email me ASAP because I have one spot left. And with that, thank you so much for listening to The Ghosty on Intellectual Radio.
Hey.
We will see you next Tuesday, same time, same place, same two crazy people. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Tracks, it's a crime of passion. Pen to pad, that's my rite of passage. Call it fatal attraction. Complaining from the back, but you won't make it happen. They were mistaken when they ever said my taste was average. A savage, wipe my mouth on tablecloth, I hate napkins. The lights flash and I'm center stage. Yeah. The lights flash and I'm center stage. Yo. Lights,